Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Shloka Day. Today's Shloka is Shloka number 3 of chapter 18. Tyajyam doshavadityeke
Tyajyam doshavadityeke
karma prahurmanishinaha
karma prahurmanishinaha
yajnadana tapah karma
yajnadana tapah karma
natyajyam iti chapare.
natyajyam iti chapare.
Forward meaning, translation, and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Tyajyam
Tyajyam
must be given up.
must be given up.
Doshavat
Doshavat
as an evil.
as an evil.
Iti
Iti
thus.
thus.
AK
AK
one group.
one group.
Karma
Karma
work.
work.
Prahuhu
Prahuhu
they say.
they say.
Manishinaha
Manishinaha
great thinkers.
great thinkers.
Yajna
Yajna
of sacrifice.
of sacrifice.
Dana
Dana
charity.
charity.
Tapaha
Tapaha
and penance.
and penance.
Karma
Karma
works.
works.
Na
Na
never.
never.
Tyajyam
Tyajyam
are to be given up.
are to be given up.
Iti
Iti
thus.
thus.
Cha
Cha
and
and
apare
apare
others.
others.
Translation: some learned men
Some landman
declare
declare
that all kinds of fruitive activities
that all kinds of fruitive activities
should be given up as faulty.
should be given up as faulty.
Yet other sages maintain
Yet other sages maintain
that acts of sacrifice,
that acts of sacrifice,
charity, and penance
charity, and penance
should never be abandoned.
should never be abandoned.
So Prabhupada writes in the purport here, there are many activities in the Vedic literature which are subjects of contention. Contention meaning dispute. So some will say this and some will say something else. For instance, it is said that an animal can be killed in a sacrifice. Yet some maintain that animal killing is completely abominable. Although animal killing in a sacrifice is recommended in the Vedic literature, the animal is not considered to be killed. The sacrifice is to give a new life to the animal. Sometimes the animal is given a new animal life after being killed in the sacrifice, and sometimes the animal is promoted immediately to the human form of life. But there are different opinions among the sages. Some say that animal killing should always be avoided, and others say that for a specific sacrifice, it is good. All these different opinions on sacrificial activity are now being clarified by the Lord himself. So as we discussed yesterday, the Lord will finally provide his own opinion in Shloka number 7. But until then, the Lord is talking about, some great people say this, other great people say this. But then these two great people are contradicting each other. So what is the Lord's opinion in the end? That is what that counts. So from another parampara, some philosophers, such as those of the Sankhya school of thought, are in favor of liquidating mundane life as quickly as possible. So what the Lord is saying in this particular shloka is that some sages say you have to give up all activities, because any and all activities keep you here in this material world. Whereas other sages say that you have to continue to perform yajna, dana, tapa for the rest of your life. So which is accurate? They opine that all actions should be abandoned because they are motivated by desire, which promotes further transmigration in the cycle of life and death. So as long as you have desires, then you have to go through that cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. Therefore, some sages say, why bother with any desires? Just give up everything. They contend that all works are subject to inherent defects, such as indirect violence. So every work and activity that we do, there is some element of violence involved in it. For example, if one lights a fire, there is always the possibility of insects getting involuntarily burnt in it. Hence, they recommend the path of cessation of all actions, except those for the sustenance of the body, which means you give up all other activities except for those that is necessary to keep the body intact. Now, the Lord also said, whereas there are other philosophers who said you have to maintain yajna, dana, and tapa. So other learned philosophers, such as those of the Mimamsa school of thought, declare that prescribed Vedic activities should never be given up. They contend that wherever there are two contradictory injunctions of the Vedas, if a specific one is more prominent, it annuls the general one, which means the principle is more important than the detail. So the principle here is there is no one on this planet Earth who can just give up all work and just be sitting idle. We all have to work. At least to maintain the body, we have to work. They contend that wherever there are two contradictory injunctions of the Vedas, if a specific one is more prominent, it annuls the general. Annuls means it negates the general one. For example, the Vedas instruct us, Ma hinsyat sarva bhutani. Do not commit violence toward any living entity. This is a general instruction. The same Vedas also instruct us to perform fire sacrifice. This is a specific instruction. It is possible that in performing a fire sacrifice, some creature may get killed in the fire unintentionally. But the Mimamsakas, followers of the Mimamsa philosophy, contend that the specific instruction of performing the sacrifice prevails, and it must be followed even though it conflicts with the general instruction for not committing violence. So there is a general instruction saying do not commit violence. But just by, Prabhupada says, just by pouring water from a pitcher or grinding something, you are killing so many small jivatmas that you cannot see. So no matter what we do, our entire life is, annotated by violence. Therefore, the Mimamsakas say we must never give up beneficial activities such as sacrifice, charity, and penance. So now the Lord has described these two schools of thought who contradict each other. So what is really the Lord's opinion? For that, we have to wait a couple of days to find out what the Lord says. Sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be given up. So now Krishna is giving opinions of different people over here. Eke means one kind of people, and apare means another kind of people. Tyajyam, doshavad, ityeke, that doshavad, faulty. Some people say that karma prahu manishinaha, giving up karma is recommended because karma is doshavad. Prahu means, they say it is interesting. Krishna is saying manishinaha. They are not foolish people. They are also manishinaha. So Krishna is not calling these two categories of people. One who says give up all karma, give up all activities. The other who says do yajna, dana, tapa. He's not criticizing them. He's just saying there are two categories of people who have different belief systems based on the Vedas. And they both defend based on what is there in the Vedic scriptures. Mana ishinaha, mind plus controller. They are not ordinary people. They are thoughtful people who say this. Krishna is not saying that their thinking is correct. He is acknowledging that they are thinkers. And as we will see that Krishna doesn't support their thinking may not be correct. So His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu has given you already the answer to what Krishna's opinion is. Not doing anything is not something that Krishna supports. That is obvious because he is asking Arjuna to fight. And there is violence and killing in fighting. Krishna says that even if it is doshavad, one should not give up karma. So even though karma may be filled with doshas, in the sense, if you light a fire, you're killing jivatmas, even though it is filled with violence, Krishna doesn't want you to give that up. So what is important? Krishna is recognizing these opinions that are different from what he is going to give. It is a significant point here. We generally think my opinion is the only right opinion, my way or the highway. Even in religion, my God is the only way. And if you're not following, then you will go to hell and we will help you go there. So some thoughts like this are there among fanatics, that only my God is the greatest God, my religion is only the perfect religion, etc. The spirit of honoring others' opinion is referred by Krishna. So Krishna is acknowledging that others may have a different opinion than him, even though their opinion may be faulty. He's acknowledging that they have opinions. So the spirit of honoring others' opinion is referred by Krishna for those people who are going to contradict him. This is done by calling them Manishinaha. The Bhagavad Gita takes quite an assertive stand also by saying Sarva Dharman Paridyagnya. So the Lord also says, give up everything categorically. So being respectful with others' opinion doesn't mean we agree with them. On the other hand, the other person may be a serious seeker who just have not come to the ultimate understanding and knowledge. So we have to respect their following or their belief system, right? We cannot make fun of other people's belief systems. They may not have come to that mature stage that you are in, because after all, you're in a journey. We are all at different markers on that road to spirituality. So earlier also, while comparing karma yoga and jnana yoga, Krishna said both are good. Both are conducive for liberation. But then he said karma yoga is better than karma sannyas. Similarly, Krishna says some manishanaha say all works are to be given up, and others say yajna dana tapa karma natyajam iti chapare. Apare means some other people say that no tyajam. They say that yajna dana tapa are prescribed duties and they are important for one to do and one should never give them up. So actually Krishna will agree with the second section of this shloka, where Krishna also will say, in my opinion, nobody should give up yajna, dana, and tapa. It should be a lifelong practice for all of us. So now after describing these two competing schools of opinion, Krishna will tell what one should do next. He will say, I'm going to give you my conclusion, my opinion. So Krishna's opinion is the only opinion that matters. But still Krishna is acknowledging that others may not agree with him. So that's how merciful the Lord is. He's acknowledging others may have a different viewpoint, but to us, what matters is Krishna's viewpoint. So Krishna is going to say that yajna, dana, and tapa should never be given up by anybody, irregardless of their varna or ashrama. So Krishna is not a proponent of giving up all activities, right? Remember, the whole chapter started with what is the difference between renunciation and a renunciate? What is the difference between tyaga and sannyasa? Krishna's preference is tyaga, internal renunciation, not just external renunciation. Yeah? Sannyasis are externally renounced and also internally renounced.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.